You're watching the mother of all talk shows, an unusual edition, to be sure. In Bucharest, for a start, in the compound of the Tate brothers. And we've just had quite a marathon interview with Andrew Tate, thought-provoking, I'm sure. And now I'm about to introduce you to the younger Tate. He is Tristan Tate, and I'm very, very glad to see you on the show. Full disclosure, although we've never met before, you were kind enough to make a modest donation to my general election campaign.
Indeed. Did you enjoy that backlash? Because you got plenty of backlash for that in the media.
Of course, but we were grateful for it. It helped buy leaflets and so on, and it was necessary. We are not funded by very rich people. We don't have any funders. We rely on the generosity of people like you, so I'm grateful for it.
Well, I'm a long-time admirer, and for me, anybody who can kick an establishment party out of a seat and has a chance is a friend of mine. So,
kind of you to say so. I was just talking to your brother about that. BRUV. It's actually quite a clever name.
I came up with that. Did he take credit for mine?
No, he didn't.
Oh, wonderful.
No, he didn't. But he didn't say it was you.
It was me.
But it's actually a very clever name. Because BRUV is a very English thing. It's a very young thing. It's a black thing. It touches a lot of bases. So how did you come up with the name?
I was looking for a clever acronym, I guess, and I was just trying to think of words that, applied and resonated with the British youth. No matter what people think of myself and my brother and where we are certainly now in life, we're at a very different station in life, but we are essentially working class council estate men from Luton. That's where we grew up. Andrew was a fishmonger for 5 years. I worked in fast food for years behind various counters. We lived in a homeless shelter at one point when I first moved to England. We come from the bottom of the bottom. We understand the struggles of the common man. And I don't think many politicians, certainly not the ones that are sitting in the seats today, can say the same thing. So I thought, why not come up with a acronym for the party name that resonates with the common man as well as we think we do as well.
That's very interesting. I didn't know just quite how difficult your early life was. Tell us more about that, because your father was the greatest black chess player in the world.
Yes,
that's
indeed.
Not a small thing.
No.
You wouldn't expect the son of the world's greatest black chess player to be in a homeless shelter or end up in a fishmonger.
Yeah, I mean, my father's first... I guess the early years of my life, when I was 1 or 2, he was a successful man. He had a good job working for the United States intelligence services. However, he lost all of that when I was maybe 1 or 2 years old. So all I ever remember was being poor. And he had this quest, I guess. His whole life's mission was to get his security clearance back, get his job back. And it never worked out for him. So at the point where my family could no longer afford medical insurance under the United States system, it was decided that my parents had split up. My mother went back to England. She took us with her. And I mean, she has all sorts of family issues that not worth going into, but there was nowhere for us to stay. So we were housed in a homeless shelter on Studley Road, opposite the fire station in Luton. We lived there for almost 2 years.
Wow.
Interesting.
And you grew up on a council estate.
Yep, Marsh Farm. The worst council estate in Luton, by the way.
Well, you've come a long way, of course,
Yeah.
And congratulations to you for that. The question is, what are you offering the people who are still there?
Well, that's the question. If I get into UK politics, I found out very recently, a mutual friend of ours, Hoz, who's in the House right now, I said, you know what, if I become an MP, I'll just use tens of millions of my own money fixing up the city. And he goes, you can't do that. I said, what do you mean I can't do that? Why can't I do that? Why can politicians take and get grants and private speaking gigs and millions of dollars from all sorts of international corporations? But the moment a man has made his own money and enters politics, he can't invest it back into his hometown. I'm better off not being a politician if I wanted to do something like that. In terms of giving back right now, I mean, myself and my brother have run our private foundation, Tate Pledge, for 6 years. We're not a registered charity because we don't take any donations from anybody, so we don't have to. We literally just spend our own money, whether it be the humanitarian crisis caused by the Ukraine war. I funded all the camps here in Romania that gave food and clothes to everybody coming across. Or any good cause, I guess, we find in the world, we try to right if we can. But what do I have to offer the people of Luton? I would say I have an understanding of how far the town has fallen. I moved there at a very different time. Luton was not a great place, but it's become a hell of a lot worse. It's a long way since the Vauxhall closures and the hat factory closures. It's a long way since, it's been a long time since Luton's ever made anything, produced anything. I understand the desperation. I understand the calls to do things that potentially aren't so good for society. I was lucky enough to find my kickboxing gym and my trainer, Amir Subasic, a Bosnian Muslim from former Yugoslavia, who took me under his wing and trained us both up in martial arts. And that was, I guess, the first stepping stone to getting out of Luton. But I understand the calls to sell drugs, do illegal things, break into houses. I've been around these people. And the desperation is truly beyond the understanding of any politician who's sitting in Whitehall.
Well, you already sound like you know more about Luton than the members of Parliament for Luton.
I'm sure I do.
I can assure you, even if I could remember who they were. Let's take a call, if you would, Tristan.
Sure.
Al-Zahra is in California on the BRUV party and the Tate brothers. Go ahead, Al-Zahra.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi.
Yeah,
I had a
go ahead, you're on the air.
Tate. I had it for Andrew Tate.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been a follower of his for a long time, and actually I am a female myself. And so I've been hearing these controversies about, I guess, women, or that women are better, they do better at staying at home and just like having kids and marrying. And I've actually been agreeing with him on these thoughts. And the thing is, I'm really confused right now because I don't know if I should be going to school and getting education, or should I, like, it's really confusing because he's saying that we're no better but for like homes and kids. So it's really confusing.
Well, I'll pass that question on, but before I do, I'll have to answer for myself. I have, my wife has multiple university degrees. I have none. My wife is a highly skilled professional and artist. I'm not highly skilled except in talking, and I'm certainly no artist. My daughters will be encouraged to go to school and university as long as they can and to achieve anything that they are capable of achieving. But Tristan, what this young lady in California, who's a fan of yours and Andrew's, a follower for a long time, she's wondering if your message is that women should bother getting educated. Your response? My
response actually applies to both men and women. The radical views that I'm purported to have by the mainstream media are absolutely false, by the way. I'm not a Taliban member. I believe women should be educated, should they want to be educated. And to anyone looking to go to university, although I didn't go to university myself, and I say that you can make it without university. My brother also has no university degree. We have no higher education past high school. I say yes, university is absolutely fantastic if you have an end goal in mind. Inflation is a concept that we all understand. The more dollars you print, the less a dollar is worth. And a university degree in the 1970s was not just so much more valuable, it was so much more rare and so much more special to be a university-educated person. Whereas every single year in the UK, tens of thousands of graduates with their new pieces of paper printed out are leaving these universities into a buckling economy with nowhere to go. Yes, if you want to be a lawyer, you do need to go to law school. Yes, if you're a doctor, you do have to go to medical school. I employ lawyers myself, believe it or not, and I'm very glad that they have their legal educations. When I preach against university, I preach against frivolous university. I'm going to go to university to study business. Why? I don't know. Why not try to start a company? It costs £100 at Company's House. You can register your own company, think of your own business ideas, and by the time you fail, and you will fail the first time round, no doubt, as I did, you would have learned more about business than the university is going to teach you. Stay away from the hyper-inflated degrees that are pushed on absolutely everybody. Yeah, come to university, learn marketing. Come learn business. I know more about business and marketing than most people who will finish university today. Make sure you have a goal, make sure you're focused, and if that's what you want to do, yes. However, if you, as a woman, think, you know what, I want to get married to a man and have 5 beautiful children, and I want to marry a man with a nice enough job that he can take care of me, don't let anyone tell you that that's wrong either. There is no correct answer, and there is no right or wrong answer. However, if I say to young women, if you wish to be a mother, get married to a man, have a family, they'll call me misogynistic. Which is wild.
You know, my father, God rest his soul, who was an industrial worker, blue-collar worker, he worked so hard, including, you know, overtime, 2 nights and a Sunday if he could get it. He kept a wife and 3 children on one worker's wage. That simply can't be done now. The worker does not earn enough to keep a family without the wife having to go out and work.
I agree. And there are many things that I guess politicians should do to combat that. It's the price of living, the price of housing. Even if you are a surgeon, which is as successful, I guess, as somebody who works for the government can be. If you're an NHS surgeon and you come out of medical school at 28, your idea that you might own your own home paid off before the age of 50 in London is wild. 0% chance. You have 0% chance as the most successful, one of the most successful and highly skilled people that can be employed by the government to ever own your own home. I feel like the dreams of the working man have been shattered, and it's not necessarily the fact that the wages aren't good enough. It's the cost of living that's gone up so massively. It's also a lack, and I really truly believe this, it's a lack of homekeeping skills. It's a lack of basic skills that people need to run their own lives. I know plenty of people, and I see them on the internet every day in England, in Luton, in the same circumstances as I was living in, or worse, mothers who say, I can't afford to feed my children on the money I make. And, you know, they'll have the newest iPhone, they'll smoke 20 packs of cigarettes a day. They don't know how to cook a home-prepared meal. It's a basic lack of financing skills. And why is that? Why do we not learn the basic things we need to live life in schools? I mean, I remember taking a class in school called life skills, and I learned precisely 0 of those. We all have to learn those the hard way. You leave traditional education, which is supposed to prepare you for the world, completely incapable of explaining what interest is, how loans work, how banks work, you know, how money management works, how to balance a basic accounting sheet just for yourself. Yeah, it's sad that people can no longer afford to live and to raise a family, which is, I guess, spiraling into the declining population argument.
Well, it is, undoubtedly. How do you spend your day?
My day is, well, how did I spend my days, or how do I spend my days now? My days, because my brother is on house arrest and I am not, I have imposed house arrest on myself, so I do not leave my house. Luckily for me, I've been fortunate enough to have a house with a gym in it, with an office in it, with a cigar lounge in it, with waiters and staff. So I wake up every day and I focus on work. I know that when I break out of here, I have a lot of important things to do. I need to make my voice heard. I have a lot of places to be. I have a lot of hands to shake, people to meet, favors to return. So I wake up in the morning. I train for about an hour and a half. I never miss training. And then I work 15, 16, 17 hours. I love to spend time with my children in the meantime, even if I'm sitting there on my laptop at the same time. Teach them things, take a break, read them a book. But there's nothing more important than family. And as a man, it's my job to take care of my family. So I dedicate myself to work.
Superb. It's been marvellous meeting you. And I think the audience, by the feedback we're getting, is well pleased with what they've seen.
Beautiful.
Let me just give you one other comment. No, it just disappeared there. I'll thank you for that, Tristan Tate, because we have another guest coming on now from the United States. It's Jackson Hinkle after this.